I accidentally saw my CEO crying on a Tuesday afternoon, not because I was snooping, not because I was looking for office gossip. I saw her because I took the wrong hallway on my way to a meeting, carrying a stack of reports that blocked half my vision. And in that brief moment, through the partially open conference room door, I saw the one person everyone believed was unbreakable sitting alone at the table with tears streaming down her face. For a second, I froze. This was Olivia Hart, the CEO of our company, the woman who negotiated million-dollar contracts without breaking a sweat, the woman who spoke at leadership conferences and inspired thousands, the woman everyone admired. And yet there she was, shoulders shaking as she stared at something in her hands. I quietly stepped back before she noticed me, or at least I thought she hadn't noticed. The next morning, an email appeared in my inbox. Please stop by my office at 10 a.m. Olivia. My stomach dropped. I was certain I was about to be fired. I spent the next 2 hours imagining every possible outcome. Maybe she'd seen me. Maybe she thought I had been spying. Maybe she wanted me gone before rumors started. At exactly 10 o'clock, I knocked on her office door. Coming. Her voice sounded calm, professional, the same voice everyone knew. I stepped inside. She motioned for me to sit. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she surprised me. You saw me yesterday. It wasn't a question. I nodded carefully. I'm sorry. It was an accident. I know. Another silence followed. Then she looked out the window. Have you told anyone? Number. She studied my face. I believe you. Relief flooded through me. But then she said something unexpected. Would you like to know why I was crying? I wasn't sure how to answer. Most people would say number. Most people would politely avoid the conversation. But something about the sadness in her eyes made me answer honestly. Only if you want to tell me. She smiled faintly, and then she told me a secret nobody in the company knew. Not the board, not the executives, not even most of her closest friends. 3 months earlier, her 12-year-old son, Ethan, had been diagnosed with a rare heart condition. The words seemed to physically hurt her as she spoke them. He needs surgery. I felt my chest tighten. He'll be okay, right? She looked down. We don't know. The room became painfully quiet. For the first time, I wasn't sitting across from a powerful CEO. I was sitting across from a mother. A scared mother. A mother trying desperately to hold her world together. I've spent my entire career solving problems, she said softly. When something goes wrong, I find a solution. Her voice cracked. But I can't solve this. Tears filled her eyes again. And suddenly I understood why she'd been crying alone. People looked at her and saw strength, success, leadership. Nobody saw the fear she carried every day. I don't know why I'm telling you this, she admitted. Maybe because you saw me at my worst. I sat quietly. Sometimes people don't need advice. Sometimes they just need someone willing to listen. That morning, that's all I did. I listened. When our conversation ended, she thanked me. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. Over the following weeks, something changed. Not in a professional way, not in a way that crossed boundaries, but every now and then, she'd stop by my desk and ask how my day was going. Sometimes we'd talk for 5 minutes, sometimes 10. Sometimes she'd simply smile and keep walking. I realized something important. The lonelier a person becomes at the top, the more valuable genuine human connection feels. Most people treated Olivia differently because of her title. They agreed with everything she said. They laughed at every joke. They were careful around her. But she once told me something that stuck with me. Do you know how exhausting it is when nobody talks to you like a normal person? I did. Because my father had owned a small business growing up. People treated him differently, too. Not because he was wealthy, but because he was in charge. Power creates distance. Kindness removes it. One afternoon, several months later, I noticed Olivia seemed especially tired. Dark circles sat beneath her eyes. She looked like she hadn't slept. When everyone else left a meeting, I lingered behind. How's Ethan? The question caught her off guard. Her eyes softened. Not great. My heart sank. The surgery date was moved. Why? She hesitated. Then she answered. The specialist we need is fully booked. I could see the frustration written across her face. For the first time, I felt completely helpless. What could an ordinary employee possibly do? But that night, I couldn't stop thinking about Ethan. I thought about Olivia sitting awake every night. I thought about a scared 12-year-old boy. And I thought about how often people assume they can't make a difference. The next day, I started making calls. I reached out to friends, former classmates, medical contacts, anyone who might know someone. I wasn't expecting much, but sometimes kindness creates a chain reaction. A friend connected me with a hospital administrator. The administrator connected me with another specialist. The specialist knew someone at a renowned cardiac center. One conversation became two. Two became five. Five became 10. A week later, I walked into Olivia's office. I think I found something. She looked confused. Then I explained. Her eyes widened. Within days, she was speaking with one of the country's leading pediatric heart surgeons. A surgeon who unexpectedly had an opening. A surgeon whose team believed they could help Ethan. When she called me into her office after the appointment, she was crying again. But these tears were different. They accepted him. I smiled. That's amazing. She shook her head. You did this? No, I replied. A lot of people did this. And that was the truth. Kindness rarely belongs to one person. It spreads. One person helps another. Then another joins. Then another. Until something impossible suddenly becomes possible. The surgery was scheduled for 6 weeks later. The entire office knew Ethan was having a medical procedure. But nobody knew the full story. Olivia kept that private. As the date approached, tension filled every day. Even those who didn't know details sensed something important was happening. Then surgery day arrived. The office felt unusually quiet. Nobody expected much work to get done. People checked their phones constantly, waiting, hoping, praying. Around 4 p.m., an email appeared from Olivia. Subject: thank you. Just 2 words. Ethan is out of surgery. The procedure was successful. Doctors are optimistic. Thank you for your support. The entire office erupted. People cheered. Some cried. Others hugged. I sat at my desk feeling overwhelming relief. But the most emotional moment came weeks later. Ethan visited the office for the first time. He looked healthy, strong, alive. Employees lined the hallway to greet him. Olivia walked beside him, smiling more brightly than I'd ever seen. Then Ethan stopped in front of my desk. You must be Jake? I nodded. He extended his hand. A very serious 12-year-old trying hard to act grown-up. My mum says you're one of the reasons I'm here. Emotion caught in my throat. Number. I smiled. Your doctors deserve that credit. He shook his head. My mum says good people deserve credit too. I couldn't speak. For a moment, neither could Olivia. The 3 of us simply stood there, and then Ethan hugged me. A quick, awkward, genuine hug. The kind only kids can give. The kind that comes straight from the heart. Months passed. Life returned to normal. Projects continued. Deadlines arrived. Meetings filled calendars. But something inside me had changed. I had always believed success came from intelligence, hard work, and determination. Those things mattered. Of course they did. But that experience taught me something even more important. The greatest impact we have on other people's lives often comes from simple acts of humanity. Listening when someone feels alone. Showing up when someone is struggling. Helping without expecting recognition. Being kind when it's easier to walk away. Nearly a year later, Olivia invited me to a leadership event where she was speaking. Hundreds of people filled the auditorium. The audience expected a speech about business, growth, success, leadership. Instead, she told a different story. She spoke about vulnerability, about fear, about asking for help, and then she shared something that stunned the audience. The strongest person in any room is not the one who never cries, she said. It's the one who allows others to see their humanity. The room fell silent. Then she looked directly at me from the stage. Most people didn't notice, but I did. And I knew exactly what she meant. Because on that Tuesday afternoon, I hadn't discovered a CEO crying. I'd discovered a mother carrying more pain than anyone realized. And she hadn't found an employee walking down the hallway. She'd found someone willing to listen. In a world obsessed with titles, positions, and status, We often forget a simple truth. Every person is fighting a battle we cannot see. The executive in the corner office, the cashier at the grocery store, the neighbor next door, the stranger sitting beside us. Everyone carries something. And sometimes the most powerful thing we can offer isn't money, advice, or solutions. Sometimes it's simply kindness, because one moment of compassion can change a life, and sometimes it can save one.